Module 2. Introduction and Recap. Hello and welcome back to Job Description Writing 101. In our last module you learned about job description basics, the do's, the don'ts, and went over some examples of strong job descriptions. Learning objectives. In this session, you will learn the following. Job description sections. Job description writing process. Job description self-quality review. Your HRB piece role in the job description process. Job description sections. Now that you have learned some tips and best practices for writing a JD, you are better equipped to start drafting the job description. However, before you begin, I will quickly go over the main sections of a JD for a better understanding of what goes where. Note, this module will focus on non-union job descriptions. Let's start with Section 1. Demographics. The demographics section of the JD contains important details like the title, business unit and reporting relationship, and version dates. It will also include things like job code and job group, which are assigned by HR and give a unique ID to the job. Keep in mind human resources will work with you to confirm the final title. Section 2. Accountabilities. The accountabilities section is the most important part of the JD and is where all the duties and responsibilities of a position will be described. Accountability statement. The accountability statement is a clear and concise, high-level statement or two that, in approximately one paragraph, briefly summarizes and describes the position. This can be compared to an elevator pitch that provides the overarching summary for the role. Functional and technical. The functional technical section is considered the core of the job description and is where most of the time should be spent crafting the job description. This section is where you will describe in detail all the duties and responsibilities of your position using the tips from the previous learning. If the accountability statement was the elevator pitch, you can think of this section as a coffee chat where you have more time to go into specific details. As a starting point, you can target to have around 8 to 10 strong core duties. However, depending on the role's complexity, you may need to list more or fewer accountabilities to capture the role. Customer and stakeholder. The customer stakeholder section describes the position's various interactions with customers or key stakeholders. Stakeholders can be either internal or external facing. The goal of this section is to describe how the position will interact with individuals outside of your immediate team. Operational excellence. Operational excellence is essentially how we look at our business strategies and processes and review various ways to more effectively solve problems and enhance business processes. Financial stewardship. Financial stewardship speaks to the level of financial responsibility expected of the role. Note that not all positions will have direct financial responsibility, but may have more minor elements such as invoicing or tracking expenses. People leadership. People leadership describes the position's responsibility for leading and guiding others in the organization. This section speaks to how many other positions this role may lead or guide, but also indicates what level of leadership capability is expected of the role. Section 3. Requirements. The requirements section indicates what education, experience, or certifications and designations are needed for the position. My recommendation is to think about the minimum level of education and experience someone will need to achieve good results in the role. And if any certifications or designations are truly required for the role and could not be done without. Remember that a job description is not a job posting, and your ideal candidate may have more than the minimum requirements outlined. Section 4. Competencies and specialized skills. Are there any specialized competencies or technical skills that are required for the role? If there are, you may list them in this section. Section 5. Unusual working conditions. Most office-oriented jobs will have no unusual working conditions. However, if the position is required to do field visits or work in adverse work environments, like outside in all weather, please list them here. Job description writing process. Now that you have learned tips on how to write the job description and an overview of the various sections within the job description, you can now move on to the job description writing process. Prior to writing your job description, your HRBP will provide you guidance and, depending on your needs, may provide additional reference documents or tools to assist you. I recommend you focus most of your attention specifically on the accountability statement and the functional and technical sections. Here are some great pointers to help you along the way. Keep in mind that JD writing is an iterative process. It's normal to go through a few versions before we get to a final JD, and that spending the time to get the JD correct will help ensure you have a robust document for job evaluation and to help craft your job posting. The accountability statement or position summary should have the key theme of the job and should be reflective of the position in a precise manner. This was touched on in an earlier section. It's important to ensure the accountability statement reflects the position in a clear and concise manner. Many find it's easier to write the statement last after you have fleshed out the details of the job. List all the key duties under functional and technical sections. This section is the core of the JD. This is where you will describe the actual accountabilities in greater detail. This is where you want to articulate all the work the position will do for the team and where you can articulate all the benefits provided. Think about crafting the statements in terms of what is to be done, how and to what benefit or outcome. Action verb, by doing to achieve something. Develop specifications by gathering and interpreting clients' needs to ensure solutions, support and drive client satisfaction, KPI. It's also where the majority of time drafting the JD should be spent to ensure this section reflects the position's overall accountability and scope. Remember to reflect what the position does today, not what it will do in the future. If it's beneficial, organize duties into buckets of work. Use subheadings to clearly outline the duties and tasks. Sometimes roles have several clear buckets of accountabilities which can be grouped together. For instance, a manager of reporting may have analytics, KPI reporting, and information governance as core buckets. These buckets can be further expanded with the supporting duties. However, not all jobs will have buckets of work. Some roles by design may have many different related accountabilities, but are not closely related enough to be bucketed. For example, a customer service manager may have cleaning, maintenance, customer service, incident management, health and safety, etc. While these tasks are all related to customer service, they may not be easily grouped into buckets. However, this does not mean one position is larger than the other, rather their work is organized differently. I also wanted to note that if you are modifying an existing JD, always track your changes. There may be situations where you are updating an existing JD or reviewing a job description for a colleague. Although this is a simple tip, always remember to use the Track Changes function in Word to assist with version control and make it clear what is changing. JD Self-Quality Review. Now that you have crafted a JD, before we can submit to our HRBP for review, you should do an internal quality review. You can use the following questions to validate if you have captured your vision of the role. You can think of this quality review as if you provided your colleague the JD for their thoughts. Would they be able to read the JD and have come away with the same understanding of the role as you have? Would they be able to understand what the position is working to achieve? You can look back at your JD with the following self-reflection questions and if your JD accurately captures the level of complexity and problems and what is needed to solve them. How much autonomy or independence the role has in making decisions or taking action. The overall responsibility and authority the role has to accomplish goals. If the position makes sense when comparing to what the manager the role reports to is responsible for. Do the statements clearly outline the expected outcomes? Are all sections of the job description completed? Heading, title, business unit, etc. What is the role of my HRBP in JD development? After you have completed your JD draft, you may wish to have your people leader or colleague also review the JD to ensure it captures the role as you envision it, and to ensure that no important duties are missing. After you have reviewed, you can submit to your HR business partner who will review and guide you through the next steps in the process. Your HRBP will review your drafted JD and may provide additional feedback or guidance to you. The HR business partner will conduct a quality check and ensure that all the sections of JD are completed, and if required, they will meet with you to understand and validate the JD duties and may ask probing questions to ensure duties are appropriately captured for job evaluation. They will review or request additional supporting documents like org charts, JD questionnaire, previous JD, business context, and rationale. If applicable, they will ensure all the questions in the JD questionnaire are answered. Once finalized, your HRBP will submit the job description to compensation to initiate a job evaluation which will determine a pay grade for the position. Compensation may have clarifying questions or require additional information to complete the job evaluation. If you have any questions or require assistance, please reach out to your HRBP for assistance. Conclusion. This concludes the end of Job Description Writing 101, Module 2. To recap, in Module 2 you have learned: what is a job description and what is it used for? Quick tips and tricks for writing a JD. Examples of what a good JD statement looks like. The JD writing process itself. What your HRBP will review with you after you submit your JD. I hope that you now have the confidence and skills to develop your job description. Thank you for your interest in Job Description Writing 101 Module 2.